Hi and welcome. I'm Oracle Asherah, and this is an angel-guided energy reading for all cardinal signs. Okay, so we are welcoming Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, and Aries. All right, let's get started. Okay. Abundance just popped out. Okay. I like this. Okay. All right, abundance, creativity, self-love, truth, ascension, new beginnings, transformation, unlimited possibilities, honoring your energy, teaching, masculine energy and feminine energy. Okay, so this right here is a big message. So teaching masculine and feminine energy. So this is asking for balance in self, self-love right here, truth, ascension. So when we honor our divine feminine and divine masculine, then we are creating in our full power. Okay, so I don't believe negative, positive as negative and positive energies, but there's negative as in negative space, which is empty, and positive space, which means the negative energy has fed the positive energy with an idea, an inspiration, and with that positive space, it then does the feminine, which is the creating, bending, and moving, and then it goes back into the masculine where it builds, attracts, and structures, right? So this balance of masculine and feminine, and bringing in this balance of self. So basically all of these statements is encouraging your creativity and your path. Okay, so if we are looking to tap into our own creativity, our ascension, and transforming ourselves into our higher self's potential, we need to then, do some groundwork, some shadow work, looking at what our blocks are, what our beliefs are, and what do we want to bring into our life. So if we can avoid or transform these blocks into building blocks and ladders and pathways into where we're moving to, that is the benefit and a positive take on our traumas, our experiences this far. Okay, so I love that. We're just going to keep these all open here because we're going to build on what Spirit is saying here. Okay, so since we're talking about ourselves and our development, what do we need to look at here? Okay. Okay, we have some energies here that we need to address within ourselves. Okay, so all right, so we need to be aware of people, jobs that are draining our life force. Okay, so if we are allowing, and maybe even our own minds, we are doing this to ourselves with our mental activity. Okay, so we need to be conscious and aware in ourselves and be aware that our thoughts are not our own. That is a place of inspiration or influence. Okay, so I like to say inspiration, God, and influence is other forces. And that could be people, energies, spirits, whatever. So taking that focus and being aware of ourself in it, and being aware of what's squashing our dreams, preventing our beliefs and our shifts in ourself and in our world. Okay, we need to be aware of others depleting our depleting others for psychic survival. Okay, so chronic complaining and codependency. So we need to be more independent. Okay, so instead of me being envious of other people and their gifts and place and where have they come to, because we don't know where they've been and what work they've done to get there. So we don't know their journey, but we always will be like, oh, I want that, or I want to be there too, or when's my time? You know, these kinds of energies and questions. So we need to then learn to connect in ourself and connect with our angels, our spirit guide, God, spirit, whatever is our language. Okay, so meditation, prayer, these are good places to draw in and connect. Okay, so if we're searching outside of ourselves and we're like competing or envious or wanting, those are some very vampirish energies that we are doing to ourselves. Okay. Okay. So we have to be aware with how important stories are, our stories are, truth is. Okay. If we are putting ourselves down mentally and feeding the blocks, we need to be aware of what we're doing to ourselves. If we are exaggerating, making up stories to maybe present a reputation that is false for yourself, because that's, you know, fake it till you make it kind of attitude, that is self-harm as well as harm to people who are looking for support or whatever it is you're offering the world with your gifts. Okay, so you need to be very sovereign in yourself, in your gifts, and be very honest and honorable in your gifts. Okay, so you also might be in a situation or position where you have, I don't want to call you a liar, but maybe you're an exaggerative person, or maybe you have, you tell tales in order to make connection with people. You tell tales in order to make yourself look better or feel better in some aspect, but we always know that does not pan out well, because usually when we go to bed at night, you know, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or oh, that's not cool, or I wonder what damage control I need to do, or, you know, like, we need to stop that kind of activity in ourselves if we want to correct our world and our karma. Okay. Okay, we have some saboteurish energy here. So quite often we have some self-defeating beliefs. So we really need to reflect on what I believe and why. Is this something I've taken on from a parent, a family member, a relationship, a mentor, teacher? Like what have I taken in, and what have I rooted into a belief about myself? Okay, so we need to look at that. You have to look at your fears. I like to have no fear mentality, okay? Because fear is where shadow and dark live. So if we have fears and we validate fears, or continue to allow that to be a place where we're resting our life and our life experience and our future on, you're never going to move too far, okay? So you need to evaluate your fear and your beliefs, and you need to make changes to have room for the positive and the inspiration. Okay, the inspiration for your creativity, for your direction, for your transformation and ascension. Okay, so we have to take also pay attention to our self-destructive behavior and our desire to undermine others. Okay, so this is kind of coming into the shadow of what we were talking about before, about making tales of others in order to have more power, to feel better about ourselves, to this is a very shadow attribute of yourself that you're going to need to take a look at. And again, that usually stems from fears. Okay, so you are valuable, you are worth it, you are gifted, you are talented, and God loves you and supports you. So we just need to redirect our connections, our building blocks, and remember our higher self, and connecting with higher power. Okay, and ignoring the external world and its influence and darkness and shadows. Okay, so we also have service to oneself or a cause. We will always find purpose when we be of service, and we will also learn when we are following a purpose. Okay, so just because you think you're on the right path and you're doing the right things does not mean you're going to avoid all obstacles, all lessons, all karmas. When those things hit you, those are opportunities. They're happening for you, not to you. So this is just correcting your mentality in your path. And when you do start getting your karmas cleaned up and your alignment more charged, and you are taking on and moving forward with integrity and honor, there's going to be less obstacles and less things that are going to have their grips in you. Okay, so our shadow that we need to look here is addiction to self-pity. Okay, we need to make sure that we are feeding ourselves with positive thoughts, positive beliefs. If we don't have that, our higher self doesn't have much for roots and much of a fighting chance. Okay, so we have to stop victimizing ourselves, and that is how we speak, that's how we believe, that's how we react and take in the world. You have to stop playing victim mentality. And I say playing because that's a choice. Okay, sometimes we discover, oh, I'm a victim, oh, I'm a victim of this. Yes, that is truth, but you do not have to portray and own that as identity. Okay, all right, what's this next one? Okay, so this is kind of what we're talking about on a bigger sum here. All right, so confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival. Okay, so that's kind of what we're talking about. This world is not going to back you, support you, be kind to you. So instead of being in survival mode, we need to be thrive mode. And that is a choice, and that is a belief, and that is the work we do inside and bring it out. Okay, so the shadow attribute here is dependence on others to be dependence on others to the exclusion of effort. Right. So you need to make the choice, you need to have the belief, you need to take in the power, and you need to do. So you don't need someone else to tell you what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. You don't need validation, because I guarantee you start sharing your ideas with people, they'll either steal it and smosh you, or put your fire out. Okay, so if you're wanting to share with people with what you did, not your plan, not your dream. Okay, share with them the results of your actions for your creativity, your dreams, and your whatnot. Okay, all right, very powerful. Okay. All right, so you need to build your confidence. All right, so that is starts with minding your thoughts. All right, getting reevaluating your beliefs. I believe we should be doing this often, because quite often we believe something and we root it and we navigate our whole life by it, to later be like, oh man, I learned something, I wish I knew that sooner. So it's better not to cling to your beliefs so hard, because as we learn and grow, where we take from our beliefs will also shift and grow. Okay, so these things aren't fixed. Okay, inspiration. I love that. Inspiration, I like to say, is from God, our angels, our higher self. Our self can talk to our self. Okay, so inspiration over influence. Now, I would really like you to question yourself. Am I being inspired or influenced? So I'm going to tell you a quick little trick here. Inspiration is going to be healing and helpful. Most of the time, influence is loud, direct, right? So sometimes it even shares details, right? So sometimes our ego is like, oh, wow, that was a clear message. No. If something or somebody is telling us to do something, that is influence. Okay, inspiration is going to be God honoring your free will, that you're a sovereign being, and it's going to inspire you to do the work to make it your own, and for it to be your own final product, right? Usually when we're influenced, be like, oh, it was a good idea at the time. Usually has some consequence, some harm. Okay, so when it's inspiration, it is God honoring our free will, which means also we have to understand that everything is our responsibility. So it doesn't matter if you're influenced or inspired, our actions are our responsibility. So it doesn't matter what the source was. Okay, so we have to be sovereign and have honor and integrity in ourselves, and that is going to help hold space for our outcome and the karma and the responsibility of what it is that we choose. Okay, so I always like to choose inspiration. It is soft, it is quiet, it can be something as subtle as something that feeds a start of an idea. Okay, because God's never going to tell you what to do, how to do it, and what that looks like. Okay, if something's going to be like, oh, do this, it's going to get you this, that's not helpful. Okay, all right, so, all right, dreams, career, and freedom. Okay, so if you're all looking to become entrepreneurs, because this world needs more of entrepreneurs rather than more corporate takeover, let's be real. So we need to focus on what careers do we want in our life? How do we want to live our life and influence and inspire the world? Okay, I said influence there, but influence also has a positive, not always shadow. But so our direction and how we're going to groom a better world, not only for ourselves, but for younger generations, okay? All right, so we need to really focus on our confidence and connection. Okay, all right, so when we start facing our shadows and we start looking at kind of finding our alignment and our path and moving in a different direction, we really need to have compassion for ourselves. So that meaning don't be hard on yourself. Be like, oh, I wish I knew this sooner, or oh, I've done so much wrong. I can't change now. Like, no, compassion for yourself. I understand that this has been your path. This has been your survival mode. This is how you got here. But now we have the opportunity to advance, to ascend, to transform all this to greater wisdom and power. And that is helping yourself. And by helping yourself, you're going to be a better and greater teacher, not only for yourself, your children, others, and so forth. Okay? And our sacral chakra. Okay, that is our root chakra. That is our root and connection to self and this world. That is our building block to absolutely everything. So maybe you need to do some research on sacral chakra. Maybe you need to do some meditation and clear your sacral chakra, charge and reprogram your sacral chakra. Okay, because all our beliefs that through our chakras also affect our flow of energy, which also affects our flow of thought and self and our beliefs, our feelings, therefore then affect our actions and behavior. Okay, so we need to really get all that in alignment. So root is sacral. Okay, so our root beliefs, our root causes, our root. We need to really focus on that right now. Okay. We need to really have some strong personal boundaries, okay? Because when we are transforming and ascending, we are vulnerable, okay? So I don't want to say isolate yourself, cut everybody off, but do take time for yourself. Do have boundaries to this vampire energy. If you have people around you that are squashing your dreams, that are really blocking your growth and your consciousness and awareness, you really need to have boundaries with these people. It doesn't mean cutting them off, but it does mean maybe pushing your self-value out more, that you're listening to more of this energy than this energy. Okay, so so that means, what do I share with people and when? Okay, so like I said, share your results, not your path. And when they ask what was the path, then that's an opportunity for you to share that. But I would not offer that right off the hop, because people be like, oh, what are you doing that for? Oh, that doesn't work. And they'll throw all their negative beliefs, all their fear, and really get in the way. And if you're vulnerable, you might listen. You might take on their beliefs. And then you're just going to prolong yourself and take on their karmas and lessons in order to work that out, to get back to where you were. And sometimes that is not even going to get you back to where you were, because you're going to camp there. Okay? So, personal boundaries. So, choice, assertiveness, empowerment, authenticity. So, this is really holding space for yourself. Okay? So, don't allow negative energies and negative talk in your own mind, and don't allow that around you, and don't allow people to do that to each other. Okay? So, it's your choice to participate, and it's your choice to take in, right? So consciousness and awareness there. All right, guys. I really enjoyed sharing with you today. Thank you, all you cardinal signs. You all have a wonderful day.